This is a film study of Ravens rookie defensive back Malaki Starks, who I think demonstrated extreme versatility in Thursday's preseason opener against the Colts. I kind of overlooked him from a film study standpoint. I believe he was designated with 12 snaps taken. He played essentially the first three possessions. He executed a number of tasks or responsibilities during the game. First of all, he covered Tyler Warren a few times into the boundary, played middle of the field free safety some, post snap, rotating from his right safety position. It looks like he's the right side safety. The Ravens have historically been a right and left defense for their outside corners and their safeties. The nickel defender obviously is normally set to the field. This season looks no different. I'm guessing that Starks will be on the right and then Hamilton will be on the left once we roll out into the regular season. I think I've got 9 plays to go over here. Just going to essentially focus on Starks and where he is deployed, where he's set up. He'll generally begin from the right side safety position, but Zach Orr, just like pretty much every defensive coordinator, is trying to present as many different looks as possible for the offense. So he's going to roll to middle of the field free safety here. This is going to be a 1st and 10. It's a completion to A.D. Mitchell against T.J. Tampa down the left sideline on a comeback route. Comeback route that was later defended really well by J.A.D., who also comes across looking really sharp in this film that I'll show you of Starks. I did a multitude of film study videos over the weekend, and this was the last one that I got to, I guess because Starks didn't make any splash plays, but when you watch the film and you see how many places he was deployed in his first NFL game, he's going against 2 starting caliber quarterbacks in Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. Starks basically lines up everywhere. Still the first possession, he's the boundary side safety. He's going to be on Warren. Now, this is a screen that is successful, mind you. Trenton Simpson folds over and makes a really nice tackle. I think they call this lineman for being downfield right here. Penalty comes from the downside of our screen. That's Warren in an 11 personnel group set to the boundary, Pro Twins A. In any case, it's a screen. Starks is unable to escape the lineman who actually was called for being downfield. And then you can see Simpson finishes off Warren for the tackle. It's on a 1st and 10. I believe it was originally a 7-yard gain, but it's called back via penalty. Still the same possession. In fact, 2 plays later, it's a 2nd and 13. Again, right side safety position for Starks. And they're going to call, I would call this man free. So say man free, some of these guys are off. We're talking about these setups here. And then a man defensive delineation there with the free safety in the middle of the field. And then I think that is Buchanan in the middle of the field as well as the Mike linebacker. So man free with a typical 4-man rush. What I like about this, it's 2nd and 13. I think Starks is extremely aware of down and distance and what he can give up, what he can allow to be completed. It's a quick tackle on Warren, who's, of course, their best talent that was in this game, at least. I know they got Michael Pittman and Jonathan Taylor. He's their rookie tight end that they're going to go to a lot. 2nd and 13 is a win for us, in my opinion, allowing a 7-yard gain or a 6-yard gain to create a 3rd and 6. Ensuing play, and now he's set up in man against Warren into the boundary. Warren's the outside receiver, so they've just picked matchups here, if you will. Normally the outside corner would be out here and a safety would be set up into the slot, or a nickel DB, or perhaps a dime linebacker. In this case, the Ravens have shown their hand basically by saying, okay, we're going to play man. I'd like to see some of these setups and then we drop to a zone. Starks has the versatility. In fact, I think it was Stacy in our Ravens Discord who is, quite obviously an Alabama fan, and he's talking about Starks, a Georgia player, in a glowing fashion, which will tell you a lot right there. And he said basically this guy could be an outside corner if he wanted to. I'm not going to go that far at the NFL level, but I think at the college level last year, he probably could have played some outside corner and been effective. He's all over Warren here, such that Anthony Richardson, who had not been knocked out of the game yet, doesn't even take a look over there. This is J.A.D.'s pass defense over the middle of the field, like I said, on a 3rd and 7. Second possession here, one of my favorite coverages from the game. It's a 2nd and 10, 11 personnel group, the same formation where they ran the screen out of. So it's Pro Twins A, the running back, tight end are on the same side with the Z receiver set into the boundary. So insert drop cover 3. There's a lot going on there from a terminology standpoint, so forgive me for that. But basically, Ojabo and Simpson are blitzing. This is when Ojabo comes free and knocks Richardson out of the game. The field side outside linebacker Green is going to drop to the hook to curl. And I've talked about this in a previous YouTube video on him and then also on Twitter. I love that Green will turn and find the receiver and see what kind of work he's got. There's a whole lot of reasons for that. You're basically trying to figure out, okay, what is 2 running? Let's say 2's running a shoot route out into the flats, and then 1 is running a slant. Well, Green, knows I'm gonna leave 2, and I'm gonna now deploy to 1. I'm gonna try to get inside leverage on him, hopefully knock his ass out if he runs a slant. At this level of football, the NFL, of course, he would get a penalty for that. But the way we would coach it in terms of a read, that's what we're looking for. That's why we're turning our head and opening, whether we're playing inside linebacker, whether we're playing OLB, dropping out. The boundary side safety is doing the opposite. So as Green is dropping here to the hook to curl on the hash, the boundary side safety is dropping to the curl flat. So it ends up looking like a little bit of a broken cover 3 because JAD is more shallow. And from a Malaki Starks standpoint, he's the middle of the field free safety. Well, you've got a deep third corner and a deep third corner. The underneath 4 droppers kind of look like an umbrella. In some cases, you want them to look more flat. It's always difficult to judge a cover 3. It's not difficult to identify, but it's difficult to judge the quality of it at this level because you got so many guys dropping out at the outside linebacker level who were on the line of scrimmage, as opposed to this safety who was lined up 12 to 13 yards deep. You would expect that the OLB wouldn't get as much depth. That's what I like about Green. He actually does get really good depth. An example here, Starks is not involved in this in stopping the play. An example here, again, of his continued versatility. Moving to the third possession here, they've got Richardson off the field. It's an 11 personnel group, and they motion the tight end to the field. Excuse me, this is 12 personnel. My apologies. So since it's 12 personnel, we've got our base defense on the field. So again, a different alignment for Starks. He is to the right, but now he's rolled up. There is no nickel defender here. So if the ball was on the left hash, this would be the nickel defender, whoever it is. In the regular season, it could be Marlon Humphrey, it could be Kyle Hamilton. That's the point. It could be Malaki Starks. He can fulfill any role on this defense, which is one of the reasons why the Ravens probably grabbed him later in the first round. Since the base defense is on the field, the Ravens are going to roll with a nickel blitz or a strong safety blitz off the edge, excuse me. In this case, Starks is the strong safety. Running back picks him up. Starks is unable to overwhelm him immediately, but you can see gets his hand up, tries to influence the throw. It's a cool route combo up here by the Colts. A wheel by 2. 1 running some kind of variation where he's maybe reading this safety, or perhaps he's just going to carry him vertical such that 3 Warren can fit this on the out. It's kind of like a post wheel concept, if you will, with a deep out by the tight end. In this case, the corner is unable to tackle Warren immediately. There is a big hit on the play. I do like the communication that's happening from JAD. Buchanan kind of gets bullied here by Warren. Maybe doesn't expand. Essentially, I would call this a fire zone, 3 deep, 3 under coverage, for lack of a better phrase, to describe it to people who maybe don't have a football background. Still the same possession. Now Starks is rolled up again to the boundary, to the right-hand side against 11 personnel. So Warren is set over there to the boundary. He could be playing Warren man if it's a pass play, to a typical drop back pass play. It's not. It's an RPO / play action. So Warren is going to move across the formation. So if Starks was playing him an absolute man, he would run with him. But Starks is so aware. He understands the concept that could be coming when the tight end flashes across. It could be split zone. So split zone is all the line blocking zone here, and then the tight end Warren coming across to kick out Ojabo. That's what it looks like right now as I've got it paused. So Starks is just sitting to fit. So he's sitting right here to fit wherever the running back is. Essentially, he becomes a third dropper here, and that gives this field side inside linebacker, he becomes a third fitter at the second level. It gives that inside linebacker, I think it's Hummel, an opportunity to sit in the slant window for the quarterback, to give the quarterback something to throw over the top of. Additional to that, something I didn't cover in the JAD video, I love that he's making contact with this receiver one of the things that we haven't done a great job of in some of our bigger moments defensively the last 2 years, even going back to 2023 playoffs against the Chiefs, is make contact or collision. Any receivers, you can see the effect that it has on A.D. Mitchell. I really don't give a shit if it's illegal at the NFL level or not. It's just good defense. Still third possession. This is after the incomplete pass. And now he's going to roll to center field once again. It's going to be a run concept. It's a short gain for the Colts out of an 11 personnel group. They tried to put the inside linebackers in a ton of conflict. So in this case, you're getting a tackle pull, which this inside linebacker doesn't necessarily key with as much focus as the guards, but you can see he does get over the top. Buchanan, running back, doesn't have the opportunity to bring it through that lane because I think this D tackle ends up on the flow side. The running back brings it up to the top side, and you've got Hummel, and then I think Ojabo kind of stuffing this offensive tackle to limit it to a short gain. My second favorite coverage that Starks was involved in this game is another fire zone, 3 deep, 3 under. Again, he's set up as the right side safety. This is the ensuing play, by the way, from the previous one. This is a 3rd and 8. Motion across out of 11 personnel. Some type of communication occurring before the motion. You can see these two guys communicating here. And then as the motion occurs, these guys look like they're staying with the call. So it's a 3-by-1 formation. Trips to the right, the top side of the screen, the left-hand side for the Colts defense, the right side, left-hand side for the Colts offense, right side for the Ravens defense. My apologies. They're going to drop Starks down. He ends up fitting alongside JAD. A pseudo mesh concept with these two underneath drags. This receiver could potentially sit here, or he could take this route back over towards the sideline if the quarterback gets flushed there. The point is so many different alignments, so many different post-snap responsibilities for Starks from the same right side alignment. Incredible versatility offered by Starks and Hamilton being lined up next to each other. 3 under, 3 deep is the way some describe it, simplistically. Fire zone, if you will. It essentially, from a mathematics standpoint, means you get to rush 5. I think this is one of the really good rushes by Mike Green. It ends up being a sack for Adisa Isaac. Sometimes if you're unsure of what a player is capable of doing, you have to go off of the way the coaches deployed them. And in this small sample size that we have, only 12 plays, I mean, wow. No plays made by Starks necessarily, don't get me wrong. But they, the Ravens coaches, clearly think that he can do everything. I think they're right. He was utilized as a strong safety in that blitz off the edge in the base defense, where the running back stepped to him. Starks tried to get his hand up on the completion down the field, like a flood-ish concept to Tyler Warren. He played boundary side safety against an 11 personnel group, matched up with Warren twice. You had the screen and then the initial 3rd down coverage on the outside, the one that JAD got a pass defense on. Starks is outside all over Warren near the sideline. He dropped in the middle of the field for that fire zone, 3 deep, 3 under that I just talked about on the previous play. Didn't see as much half-field stuff where he just pretty much stays where he is. I was kind of looking forward to that. 1 safety on the right, Starks, 1 safety on the left, whoever it ended up being in this game, and then they play different split field coverages, and I have to try to figure out which one it is. I'm not really good at that, to be honest with you. Didn't see a ton of that, but overall, globally, I think this is a great illustration of how versatile Starks must be, because the Ravens coaches expected him to execute all of that within the span of, I think, just 12 snaps. Putting him next to Kyle Hamilton, tremendous blessing. Can your defense be too versatile? Maybe, I guess, if you're trying to do too much and then you end up being average at everything. I don't think that's the case here. I just don't. Maybe this is me just having a glowing evaluation of everything the Ravens do. I don't think so, because I'm quite critical of other things, specifically the offensive line. When you put players out there like Starks, Hamilton, and Humphrey, all 3 of them have an extremely high level of versatility, but also quality snaps at all of the things they're asked to do. Much will be expected, and that allows other players who are more singular focused to fit in where they're comfortable and perhaps most effective. And it's not that other players don't offer versatility as well, right? Chuck Pagano kind of let the hat out of the bag a little bit in a press conference maybe 2 weeks ago when speaking about Awuzie. He said, "I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but we're deploying him as a dime linebacker some." Simpson in those situations would be the guy who would probably be subbed out. Basically, third down, obvious passing situations. I don't think we're going to see that every time on 3rd and 8. I really don't. I think Zach Orr wants to present the offense as many looks as possible in those known passing situations. And to me, Starks is a huge part of that. If you were to rank the versatility of the guys on defense, we're talking about probably 18, 20, 22 guys who will contribute over the course of the season. Where would you rank Starks in terms of versatility? If you're only limiting yourself to proven NFL film, he's probably lower than number 3. But based upon what the Ravens just showed us in his first preseason game, it's possible he might be 3, behind Hamilton and Humphrey, in terms of actual versatility, ability to cover in man against tight ends, ability to sit down, drop down to the second level in zone defenses, whether it's a cover 3, whether it's a fire zone or 3 deep, 3 under, ability to play free safety, middle of the field free safety, and man free or cover 3 delineations, and then play half field safety in some of our various split field calls. If he can do all of those things, which the Ravens coaches seem to think he can, then he's probably the 3rd most versatile guy that we've got. I'm talking about at the 2nd or 3rd level of the defense, linebackers and defensive backs. He was able to execute a lot of things. I really like the 2nd and 13 completion to Warren. The quick tackle. Hey, we'll play 3rd and 7 and we'll see how this works out. Only the screen would possibly be scored as a negative play. Simpson came over and cleaned it up, right? And it ended up being a penalty on the Colts. I really like what we saw, even though there's no splash plays, certainly no interceptions or passes defensed. I hope we're going to see him targeted a little bit here in the preseason, how he reacts. I would ask, if I had the opportunity, Ravens coaching staff to say, hey, can we see him at middle of the field free safety in the next 2 preseason games a little bit more, since I anticipate him being there often. But a lot of things in the Ravens defense depend on which hash the ball is on. Basically, if Malaki Starks was on this team last year, he would have been on the same side as Brandon Stevens, and I think we would have been in a whole lot better situation about the versatility that he would have brought to this team compared to even a Marcus Williams, a very accomplished NFL player, but not someone, in my opinion, that offers the same level of versatility that Malaki Starks now does. Hopefully all of that makes sense. The ending that I tried to provide here, the last 4 or 5 minutes of commentary, forgive me if that was too much for you guys with no film flowing through. In any case, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please let me know in the comment section. I'm very impressed with the package the Ravens presented us defensively, especially early on, and what they asked Starks to do and the manner in which he tried to do it. If you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this film study look with significant commentary by me at the end, some of which is projection, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.